The 1970 release of Robert Altman's MASH is the moment New Hollywood came of artistic age. The supposed revolution had already sparked 3 years earlier with Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate being released to critical and commercial standing ovations. But this was all still very much in the context of the American film landscape. Sure, these movies were a big step up from treacly Hollywood fare such as Dr. Dolittle, but there was still not much comparison to be made between any commercial American movies and the brilliant but difficult foreign ones coming out of Europe and Asia in the 1960s. All this changed forever when MASH not only wound up a blockbuster, but also took home the top prize at the Cannes Film Festival, only the third instance of a Hollywood movie winning since 1948. It would then happen 4 more times in the coming decade. MASH turned the eye of the studios away from simply chasing a hipper, younger sensibility for profit's sake to now prioritizing the maverick visions of auteurs who didn't care at all about making money, as long as that ultimately resulted in artistic success, and hopefully making a fair amount of profit too. The impact of a film such as MASH was unmistakable and instantaneous. From its blackly humorous surgery scenes, overtly political message, its frank depictions of sexuality and misogyny, and lack of traditional protagonists or story structure. If there were any supposed rules to filmmaking, this director clearly didn't believe in them, and no one seemed to care. The timing of the success was all too perfect for both the movie and the man at the helm. Altman's subsequent prolificness during the 1970s has rarely been equaled, and this was all due to him starting off the decade at such a high point. And MASH, the intellectual property, would then leapfrog from unbelievably successful film to previously unheard of levels of success as a television sitcom, one of the longest-running and most celebrated in the history of the medium. But does all this veneration and reverence miss the entire point? By now, MASH has accumulated such an aura of veneration and reverence that surely Hawkeye, Duke, and Trapper John, to say nothing of Altman himself, would no doubt already be rolling their eyes, making a jerk-off motion, and pointing out that we're all probably taking this just a little too seriously, don't you think? It's just a fucking movie.
Welcome to Kael Your Idols, a new Hollywood podcast with your hosts,
Sam Ludwig
and Elena Gibson. This is a podcast about film.
Primarily,
we discuss movies, directors, actors, and writers known for their work during the new Hollywood era of studio filmmaking that began in 1967 with Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate, and pretty much ended in the early 80s with One from the Heart and Heaven's Gate. In this episode, a major auteur bursts onto the scene and brings his unique flair for ensemble character pieces, showcasing the cacophonous babble that is modern life.
So there that was. We did it. A little comedy bit for you.
How did it work? Did you just think that we fucked something up, or?
Well, no. You see, so like that's kind of the hackiest Altman joke, if there is such a thing as a hacky Altman joke. Like that way, when he got the when he finally won his honorary Oscar, because he never got an Oscar. He only got the honorary one.
Right. He was nominated 5 times.
Is that it?
Yeah, he was nominated 5 times.
Yeah. So when they had Meryl Streep and Lily Tomlin come out and give him the award, they did that talking over thing. Again, so it's super hacky. It's like the first... But apparently, that was not originally planned. They were just going to come out and say it. And Altman heard them rehearsing it and said, just talk over each other. So Altman himself was doing a hacky... I'm Robert Altman joke.
He's like, I know what my thing is.
I get the bit, guy. Like, yeah.
I mean...
He's like, why didn't you think of doing that?
I guess it's hacky, but it's also like, that is his thing.
Right.
And it's very, very noticeable.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Altman is sort of one of the easiest to explain auteurs or most recognizable styles, would you think? Or
yeah, I think like him and like Malick.
Yeah.
It's really obvious to see their stamp on it. For sure.
Which is funny with Altman because he's such a sort of understated filmmaker in a way. Like, he's a much less flashy filmmaker than somebody like Scorsese, and yet the weirdness of his cinema, if you know where to look, is more in your face, even though it's like his movies kind of almost look blander or less cinematic in a way, you know?
Well, let's go ahead and just dive into this. Like, what makes this movie Altman-esque? Like, what is Altman bringing to the table here in this film? What's the Altman style? Obviously, the overlapping dialogue, that's super obvious. Yeah. And this was the first movie in general that he made that really made his career, right? Like, this was his first big hit, and it ended up being his biggest hit of his career. So this established his style. It wasn't his first film.
Not at all. I mean, he'd been a working director for, at this point, like almost 20 years. We'll get into the Altman life in a bit, but this was far from his first project, and it wasn't even his first real film. He'd made another movie that was sort of, you could call the first Altman movie, but it just went nowhere. Nobody cared about it. But this movie established him as a star, established his style, and put him in the position to be able to follow his artistic whims wherever.
The overlapping dialogue, that's apparently something that he started experimenting with back when he was making industrial films, and he just had a lot of freedom to experiment with different techniques there. What else would you say?
Well, the reason you can have overlapping dialogue in an Altman movie is because you got a shitload of characters.
Right. Like, so ensemble casting, that's another Altman touch.
Definitely. It's a movie about systems. American systems typically are his target, and the system attempting to subsume an individual, but individuality being unable to be tamped down.
What are some of his other films that also deal with that theme?
Of like the system versus the individual?
Like, if you're saying that that's kind of like an Altman touch.
Yeah, I would say Nashville is certainly like that. Brewster McCloud, The Player. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, subversiveness is basically his main theme. I mean, he's got this deeply cynical viewpoint, but I guess in a way, if you're thinking about it, yeah, maybe MASH is the most obviously about that sort of like individual rebellion thing. It's like, yeah, I guess this is a movie where there is a sort of heroic element, you could say, to the lead characters. In most Altman movies, I think they're kind of anti-heroes, and in these, they're almost more good.
We'll definitely talk about that, about how, to what degree are they heroes and good guys versus assholes.
But in this, they're shown to be this is very much, they're victims of this fucked up system, and everything that they do is sort of being excused in the movie's eyes by the fact that they are trapped by this military system. No?
Yeah, and they have to witness the horrors of war firsthand with all of the injured soldiers that come through their tables.
Right, yeah. I mean, and this is another Altman thing, I guess you could say, is like, it's a genre. He likes to experiment with genres and sort of subvert the conventions of them.
And I would say there are 1.5 genres in this movie. Obviously, it's a war movie, but it's also kind of a sports movie.
It's kind of a sports movie. It's kind of a doctor movie, too.
Oh, true.
Like, it's a sex thing, but I feel like that's kind of almost inherently a doctor thing, like a sex movie. You know what I mean? I feel like
you think sex and doctors go hand in hand?
I think that's sort of a holdover from like the days of doctor soap operas, which have always been the thing. And like, isn't that? I think like, yeah, people think about doctors fucking each other.
I mean, they're sexy, right?
Right.
They have so much stress at work that they gotta like make bad decisions and sleep with a bunch of people to deal with it.
Yeah, and also it's a thing where I guess this is a situation where I don't know of any other army movie before this that's about like the medics, right? And I guess this is a movie, the first war movie that's about a war where there's a lot of whacks, right? Where there's a lot of like female soldiers around. So it's
whack? Like is that what a female soldier is? A whack?
Yeah. I can't remember what it says. WAC, Woman Army Corps or something like that. I don't. But so like this is showing it's a co-ed army situation,
right?
Right. And I guess that's because they have the women as nurses because it's 1950 or whatever.
Finally, something women can do for the war.
Exactly right.
Okay, so overlapping dialogue, ensemble casting, genre subversion,
cynicism too. Like I mean,
cynicism.
I think profound cynicism is a hallmark of.
And just a general artsiness that's very understated.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like, he's got actors, he's one of the most famous actors, directors, and yet he's somebody who's just kind of letting people do whatever they want, and he's capturing actors giving you weird behavior, but he's not overly focusing on it. Like, they'll just be doing it in the background, or it'll just, the thing with Altman is his movies force you to watch them very keenly. Like, you can't, most movies kind of like really are desperate to have you know what's going on at any given moment, and so they sort of like foreground or shove the meaning of a scene in your face. And in an Altman movie, it's like the meaning of a scene can just kind of pass right by you if you're not paying attention.
Absolutely. That became very clear to me when I read the script in preparation for this episode, and then comparing that to what happens in the movie. There are lots of things in the script that are in the movie but de-emphasized to such a degree that you don't actually know that it's a point being made by the movie. And so Altman just weaves the script through the foreground and the background so well that it just feels very real.
Yeah. I mean, and that is the goal. Like, he's not interested in making movies. He's interested in making reality happen.
And that gives quite a lot of rewatch value to movies.
No, totally. We watched this movie twice.
I mean, you had seen it, I'm sure, before.
Yeah.
I'd seen it once before.
Right.
So I've seen it a total of 3 times, but we watched it twice right before recording.
I guess, should we address the weird, daunting nature of recording this episode for me, I guess, mostly. Versus...
may have noticed, you probably didn't notice, but maybe you have, that this episode is coming out a little late.
Yes.
And yeah, it's because we've been dragging our feet a bit. Mostly Sam.
It's mostly me. And so I guess our party line about, like, there was some reason why I felt like I just wasn't ready to talk about it. I mean, there's a mountain of research about different actors that you can do, and it's like who to focus on, like, much like the movie, doesn't really know who to focus on sometimes. But, I think our party line was Altman is like maybe my favorite director of all time. Or he's up there, certainly. I'm an Altman person. If we're talking new Hollywood figures, Altman would be probably the first one I would mention as my person. How do you feel about Altman in general?
I feel fine about him.
Fine?
Yeah. He's not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But I think he's great. He's just, none of his stuff has really connected with me hard the way his stuff has with you. I think my favorite movie of his...
Long Goodbye?
Either Long Goodbye or what's that murder mystery one?
Gosford Park?
Gosford Park. That might be my favorite. But I only saw it once.
Yeah, I mean, those are great. Like, he's famous for... He made so many movies. I mean, he made like 12 movies in the 70s. So prolific, and certainly not concerned with everyone being great. And it's sort of weird when you're a director who your style is very understated and easy to sort of fly past people, that then... I don't know if that you prime them in a way that then they're more ready to accept your artistic swings, or if they're more ready to call you out for, being full of hot air or whatever, and like having there be no there, because I guess by his own admission, like a lot of times with his movies, there kind of is no there, and he's just trying to figure it out.
I guess I haven't seen that many of Altman's lesser films.
Right.
But I don't know. Everybody has lesser films in their filmography. So I feel like there's a there because of all of the great films he's made, but there's definitely a there.
Yeah, no, I know. But I mean, like, it's just, he clearly is sort of just beholden to the project in a way. Like, he's not somebody who's out there generating, like a lot of ideas himself. He's just sort of training his focus on something that's being put in front of him.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Whether it's interesting or not is up to that.
Reading the script, I was just so shocked at how much is in the script.
Yeah.
He obviously puts his own unique stamp on it, but all of the sequences, all of the jokes, all of that is in the script. And apparently, when he got the script, he had been trying to make a World War II movie happen for a while. And when he got the script for this, he's like, okay, I can just like use the shooting style I was planning on doing with that other movie for this movie, MASH. And so it's really the shooting style and his approach to working with the actors that is how he affects the material he's working with.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's famous for people sometimes call it improvisation. Other people claim that it's sort of overstated how much he's improvising. But, by a lot of people's, estimation, like he's a lot of people claim that, like, Sally Kellerman seems to be claiming that she basically created the ending of what happens with Hot Lips. But you're saying that's not true? Like, you read the script?
I read the script. Which ending are you talking about? She's not focused at all in the football game.
Right. Like
So her transformation of suddenly, like, being one of the guys, that was created for the film.
Yeah, and that's Sally, that was her idea.
I can't wait to, like, talk about her a bit more. I have this, like, amazing excerpt from an interview she did that's just totally insane, and I'm very excited to.
It's great. Well, there'll be a lot of great discussion of the misogyny of this film, or maybe it's not misogyny, but maybe it is. I don't know.
But back to the improvisation. Yeah, you mentioned there's a lot of disagreement about it. Like, Tom Skerritt, who's the actor who plays Duke in MASH, says the dialogue is about 80 to 90% improvised. After reading the script, there's no way that that's true. But the screenwriter, Lardner, did get really mad at Altman after seeing it at the first screening and said, "You've ruined my film." And he announced at the first screening that not one word of his remained in the movie. Later on, he denies this in his autobiography and said that the departures from the script weren't nearly as drastic as Altman made out.
Yeah. He claimed that he didn't thank Altman at the Oscars. He didn't thank anybody. He was a former blacklisted writer. Right?
Yeah. He was one of the Hollywood 10, which I don't even know what that is. I just read that about him, and I'm like, that other people probably know.
It's them guys from Trumbo, right? Them guys from that Trumbo movie? Well, anyways. So, Altman, collaborative, improvisation, moving back one step. I think after having given this weeks of thought at this point and rewatched the movie, I don't think that my hesitation really was, that I was sort of, just to finish up the loop of what we're saying. I venerate Altman so much. I don't think of myself as being a MASH fan. And, the first time we watched it, the movie was a little bit like, I'm not getting that much out of this. This is kind of similar. We were originally going to do McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Which we teased in an earlier episode. And then we started watching it. We were like, we don't feel like doing this.
This isn't for us. Like, it's that kind of Altman thing where you're like, yeah, this really isn't doing it for me. It's making me come to it too much. And we gave up early, as something that people often say you shouldn't do with McCabe and Mrs. Miller. But anyways, MASH, I was like, I love Altman. This is not my Altman movie. Am I going to be able to find enough to say about this? But I don't actually think that was my hesitation. I think it was that this movie is actually really weird and morally difficult to parse. And almost everything in it is like topsy-turvy, but then it's topsy-turvy from that again, too. Like, it's like the guys do bad stuff. In the movie, you're seeing it be bad stuff. The movie is judging them for being shitheads. But they're also sort of right to be doing these things. Right?
There are some things that they are obviously not right to be doing, but yes, sure.
But I'm not even saying, like, there's some stuff that we can sort of, like, judge through a modern lens, but, like, the movie at the time got criticized for being misogynistic. I would say that the filmmakers and Sally Kellerman certainly believe that to be a misreading. Like, it's a movie, it's about misogyny. It is showing the guys being misogynistic, right? Like, do you not agree? You think the movie's
I have some quotes from Sally Kellerman that's like, she certainly wasn't a feminist, so...
Well, no, sure, but, like, the movie is showing misogyny constantly.
Yes.
Like, it's not like the part where she gets revealed. Like, that's a moment played for kind of horror.
Do you want to go ahead and talk about the gender and misogyny right now?
It's the main. We gotta talk. This is kind of the essence of what MASH is about, right?
Let's first finish up what makes this an Altman-esque movie. I just wanted to add. So, the point you just made about how it turns things topsy-turvy constantly, I think, is an Altman thing in general. And we will get back to the gender question in a second. I did just want to say, as I was reading the script and watching the movie, I had this burning desire to just watch a different version of MASH directed by a different director. I thought that'd be so interesting to see what a single script is like directed by two different directors and their own interpretations of it, where they haven't seen each other's work at all before doing their own interpretation. I think that'd be so cool. I would love to see that sometime. It'd be such a fun project for some filmmakers to do. But then I realized I can do that already because I can just watch the TV show. Yeah. And so we watched an episode of the TV show, and it had a lot of the plot points of the movie, even though it was like some episode in the middle of a season. It was shocking to me how many of the major plot points in the movie showed up in that single episode. And I'm like, is it just a really repetitive TV show? I don't know. But that was a perfect illustration of what Altman is bringing, because in the TV show, it's just so like morally good. And getting back to, you know, your thing about like topsy-turvy moral questions and stuff, like in the TV show, it's not topsy-turvy at all.
No.
It's just doing the jokes, and, you know, it's kind of after-school specialty, and it's not cool.
Right.
I know it was beloved, but it's not cool.
No.
Whereas MASH, the movie, is so cool.
It's very cool, yeah. No, and the show is famous. You know, there's a famous Futurama joke where they have a robot doctor that's programmed to be like Hawkeye from the TV show MASH, and like he has a dial on his chest where he just flips from like making jokes to being super maudlin. I don't know, he'll make some kind of like Groucho joke and they'll be like, but war is hell, man, and we have to be serious. But, you know, and that is the thing that people always say with MASH, the TV show, is it's constantly like flipping tones back and forth to this like super sappy to this super supposedly anarchic thing. And MASH, the movie, it's all mixed together.
Right.
Like everything, it's all the same weird thing at once. And this is kind of what makes the movie cool. And I, the second time we watched it, I was...
You were digging it more the second time?
I was. How about you? Like, were you digging it more?
I dug it the first time. But yeah, I think that's true. The second time, I remember like when Hot Lips and Frank are having sex and it's being broadcast over the loudspeakers and you hear the loudspeaker echo. I'm like, oh man, that's so artsy the way it sounds. It's
scary.
Echoing. And I was just having like a very like artistic experience in that one scene. And I'm like, that's not like what what he's going for. Or, I mean, he's kind of going for that, but that's not what the main scene is about. It's supposed to be just funny. But because we had just watched it before, I was not really paying attention to the main thing happening in the scene. I was paying attention to the secondary things happening, like the way that the audio strikes you in that moment. Yeah,
but I mean, like, it's I feel like that's one of the things about the movie is so many of these moments that you would think would be joking moments are not played for comedy. Like that moment, especially the moment, any of the moments with Hot Lips where they're really fucking with her and stuff, they're like dark moments. Like that echoing thing adds a real eeriness to that scene.
Yeah.
And the scene where she's in the shower, they're all just like solemnly setting up their chairs like it's the ritualistic humiliation of this woman. Like it's not like, hey, come on, girl. You know, like they're just like sitting there staring at her, and then the flap goes up and she's screaming, and they're like, yes, that's what happened to you. And it's just, it's not played for laughs. And I was thinking about this, is that this is one of the few Altman movies where the genre is comedy. He always has a satirical or a weirdness aspect to his movies, but this is a movie where it's like, get ready to sit down and have some laughs. And I think that I just have no idea how laugh out loud funny people thought this was back then. I can't tell how much that has aged well or poorly, you know?
I can give you some quotes from some critics. At the time, Kael called it a marvelously unstable comedy, a tough, funny, and sophisticated burlesque of military attitudes that is, at the same time, a tale of chivalry. It's a sick joke, but it's also generous and romantic, an erratic, episodic film full of the pleasures of the unexpected. So she definitely thought it was very funny, along with a lot of other things. Like she just listed a bunch of other things that are in there at the same time. The fact that you can call this movie chivalrous, despite all of the misogynistic stuff that the characters do, is just mind-boggling.
You could look at Hot Lips as the protagonist of the film, and that the story of the movie is her journey. And you can see this in the first scene that she has towards attempting to become accepted.
Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and read this segment from this interview I read with her right now, because it hits on a lot of things that we might want to talk about at some point. So,
do you want? I'm sorry. Do you want to explain what MASH is? Have we like said what?
I'll give a quick little spiel, but the thing is that it's so narratively unusual that I've heard it described as more of just a bunch of sequences put together rather than a normal 3-act structure, which is pretty true.
I'm not talking about plot. I'm just saying what a MASH unit is, what this is, what the bit is.
Yeah, what does MASH stand for? It's
Mobile Army Surgical House?
House? I don't think it's house. Is it house? I don't think so. They don't. There's no houses. It's all tents.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like they're mobile, but there's no scene where they all get up and move the camp, right? Shouldn't that be like a crucial thing that's like always happening as they're moving?
Okay, Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Surgical hospital, right?
I think it counts as mobile because they could get up and move it.
They could if they wanted to.
Like it's tents.
But they're at the front lines. Also, incidentally, I was looking at the iconic like the symbol of M asterisk A asterisk
Yeah,
S, yeah. I was like, what is the deal with that? Because I was like, why are the? And I was like, why is there no asterisk at the end after H? And then I was like. And it was just like a flourish that the author of the book put. But it makes it look like an official, like that's the official Army way of saying this. But then, of course, nothing has asterisks. No acronym ever uses asterisks in between it.
It actually really bothers me because when I alphabetize my Excel spreadsheet of every movie I've ever watched, like I hate dealing with all those like weird extra things people put in the title. I'm like, how am I going to deal with that? I mean, I always put weird symbols as coming like first before any A's, B's, or C's or whatever, but it's just like kind of throws things off a little bit. It just bugs me.
Is this like a problem when you're cataloging What the Bleep Do We Know? The documentary?
I haven't seen that one yet, so I guess it's not a problem.
Conspiracy theories or something like that? I can't remember. I was made to watch it by somebody one time on a date. They were like, you should watch this really cool documentary. Anyway.
Okay, so MASH, the movie you're watching, surgeons basically fuck around at this hospital near the front lines in between having really intense surgical scenes.
Yeah, they're trying to fuck the nurses. They're trying to cut up. They're trying to make jokes on their superiors. And then they're like doing surgery. They're covered in blood. They're sawing a person's leg off. And they're asking somebody, can you use those clippers to scratch my nose? You know?
Yeah.
That's the movie.
We will talk about the surgical scenes more. We'll talk about the different sequences, but it's both of those things in relief. It's both of those things commenting on each other. Their life-saving work that they're doing that is intense and them blowing off steam and making light of the entire situation through it all in order to survive, presumably in order to deal with what they're seeing.
Yeah, it's a movie about people using different methods to psychologically cope with possibly like the worst, craziest, most absurd kind of injustice being done to oneself, which is like being drafted to be in a war. Especially, these are doctors. So they're like, high-level professional people who've, because of their expertise, have been forced to be in this hell.
Right. Although you definitely, I feel like all these characters would be assholes even if they didn't have to go to war.
Right.
I feel like they'd be just as misogynistic.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yes. But I guess but the movie seems to be saying that this is due to that these guys are being different in this context because the Army's bringing this out and because they're so far away from home and they're dealing with these crazy things. But it is also talking about men in general, I guess. It is also making a commentary on men, but it's supercharging it. And then the end where they're playing football with fucking cheerleaders, that's like the apex of the rabbit hole they found themselves down. Anyways, that's MASH.
Yeah, Kael says that the point of the movie is that it's about people who aren't hung up with pretensions, people who are loose and profane and have some empathy, people who can joke about anything, can function, and maybe even do something useful in what may appear to be insane circumstances. Sally Kellerman plays the role of Hot Lips, who is a character in MASH who gets abused by everybody. She is just very like prissy and a rule follower. She is just constantly abused by the three cool guys of the camp, Hawkeye, Trapper, and Duke. But in the end, she comes around to their side and she learns how to be one of the dudes, basically.
She is one of two antagonists.
Yes, her and Frank Burns.
Who are both shown to be hypocritical, I guess, within the eyes of the movie. He's a religious nut and she's just a prissy rule follower. She's a major. She outranks them. But she's a nurse, so she kind of doesn't outrank them in the operating room. And Frank Burns is, this religious nut doctor, but the movie implies that they're both hypocrites because they just want to fuck each other and they don't really believe in any of the things that they're claiming to believe. But Frank Burns, they actually get rid of him because they don't respect him. They say that he's a bad doctor.
Right.
And he's an asshole to Boone, who claims that, he killed a guy. But Hot Lips, even before they accept her as one of the guys, they say, you're a damn fine nurse. Like, you're a pain in the ass, but you're damn fine. Like,
that's true. That's a good point.
They respect her, and she is different from Frank Burns, even though they start off as a pair.
Yeah.
Just wanted to say this.
No, that's a great point, because they make fun of Frank Burns for his religion, but they like the priest who's in the camp. They treat him just fine. It's more that Frank Burns is an asshole and a bad doctor. So, yeah, that's a great point. Okay, Sally Kellerman playing Hot Lips. She got an Oscar nomination for the role. Her outburst after the shower scene is so emotional. Like, she does an amazing job there. You just really, that's one of those moments where you feel how terrible it was, what they did, even though that scene was funny. But she was basically on cloud nine the night that MASH won at Cannes, and she was in a hotel room afterwards getting interviewed by somebody from the New York Times. And the name of this article is A Talk with Hot Lips. And it's just this awful interview. Like, it was very sexist the way it was written. Like, here, there's this description of her. She crawled under the covers in her clothes. Then she leapt out of bed, picked some chewing gum out of her bathing suit, and wandered about the room, folding clothes, flushing the john, throwing panties into the suitcases. And just like that description of like, what the fuck is this chick doing? She's just like picking bubble gum out of her bathing suit. Like, she's just like this bimbo who's just, I don't know. It was crazy reading it. But there was this amazing quote from her in it. So in the middle of this interview, this is a long quote, but I do feel like it's worth reading. She was talking about her career and was talking about how it wasn't going very well before MASH, and said, I was so desperate that I went to see Bob Altman about MASH. And I said, I'll do anything. I can be funny. I can break loose. Just let me try. And I think I had hold of his pant legs or something, because he took a long look at me and jumped up and yelled, Hot Lips. I was there to see about the role of Lieutenant Dish. I didn't know anything about Hot Lips. But for the first time in 14 years, somebody had responded to me. So I just said, oh, yes, Hot Lips. And I ran out of the meeting and practically ripped that script apart looking for all the lines belonging to Hot Lips. On page 40, I found one line. On page 70, another line. 14 years, and at the end of the rainbow, a 9-line part of a soldier called Hot Lips. I cried for 3 days. I screamed at my agent. I yelled at my manager. I told Bob Altman I hated him. I hated his stupid script, and I hated his stupid movie, and most of all, I hated Hot Lips, and they could take all their stupid little project and go fuck themselves. Well, Bob Altman must have known what he was doing, because he said, don't worry, you'll have more to do than it says in the script, because I plan to make up this movie as we go along. And what did I have to lose? It was a gamble. I could have lost everything, but Altman is the first director I ever worked with who didn't make me afraid. He was a great audience. The things in the movie everyone thinks took a year and a half were totally spontaneous. We were a family. The people you see the most of in MASH were the ones who worked the hardest. The assistants didn't even yell. They'd just say, come on, Sally. Even my analyst said it did more for me than a man could. I'm not kidding. It was like a 2-month paid vacation. That's what the new renaissance of film is all about. Feeling good. It was the first time in my life I'd ever had a real family. From the first day, Bob told me, if you worry about what you look like, you're fired. And now people are asking me if I minded playing a poor lady who gets knocked around by all the men because it is such a blow to women's liberation. Oh, no, man. I was a stiff, rigid Victorian when I got into MASH. Hot Lips changed me because she was the only character in the film who was allowed to change. She ended up gaining from the degradation. She was a pill. She needed shaking up, just like me. She was an uptight bitch, but she ended up part of the family, yelling for the guys in the football game. The MASH unit for her was like the movie crew for me. I'm not a women's liberationist anyway. I think people should be allowed to do whatever they want in life without outside intimidation. Otherwise, I think they're more like Hot Lips was in the beginning of the movie. Most of them look like bull dykes. I want a man to run my house and make my decisions. Man, when a burglar comes, I want him to be the one to go downstairs. So there you go. That's Sally Kellerman.
Until we got to the end there, I was about to be like, no, this all is fine. Like, what's... And then just kind of like...
Just calling all women's lib dykes. Yeah.
Well, look, Obviously, yes, Kellerman is not a person who I guess is a good litmus test person as far as thinking about this role. I don't know. It's funny. The movie doesn't seem to me to be really having that much fun with the sexual antics. Or no, I mean it does having fun with the sexual antics, but it seems to me to treat the hot lip stuff with deadly seriousness in general. Like, I mean, I can't really say that I know how everybody took this kind of stuff back then, but like when you actually do have a society that is like really repressed, I mean, look, we still have shit like this now, like free the nipple. You know what I mean? Like there are still people who, you know, are saying like, no, we are repressed and we should get shaken up out of our thinking and stuff, right? And like, for some reason, this is a story where they bully a guy out of the army. He gets off in a straitjacket and they bully the girl and she becomes one of the guys. That's just not a story that seems to me where it's like, I don't know, like, am I making excuses for something or whatever? But like, it's just, It seems...
I think a little bit. Well, I mean, yeah. The thing is, when I watched it, I felt like we were supposed to think that the three main characters were charming even while they were being misogynistic. So that aspect of the film, I do find it to be misogynistic because of the way it's treated. And I know for you felt like it was treated with deadly seriousness. I disagree. I do think it is showing guys being guys to blow off steam because of how stressful their other aspects of their life are. And I'm not saying that the movie made it seem like it was totally okay, everything they did, but I don't think it was super critical about them. And I think that they still came off as really cool while doing it. They didn't come off as particularly bad guys.
I don't know. Like, to me, it's just like the key exchange is the first one with Hawkeye and Hot Lips, where, you know, she is saying, she's making some stupid point about, you know, it's not appropriate for people to address you as Hawkeye. And he immediately is just like, oh, what? You know, you're talking to me about this? I was going to fuck you, lady, but now I'm not going to. And he leaves and she's like, how did an asshole like this possibly reach such a high level within the, you know, military medical corps? And Father McKay says he was drafted. Like, that to me is the whole movie. Like, it's literally, it's like, that guy's a fucking asshole. What's he doing here? It's like, oh, the government forced him to be here right now. Like, it's like, yeah, no, there's no good reason why that guy should be in any position of authority at all. It is a mistake that he has attained any level of respect. I think that's exactly what that's trying to say. It's so multi-layered and complex. Like, it's saying, it is shitty that this guy is being here. It's also shitty that this guy is letting off steam in this way. It's also shitty that Hot Lips is thinking that we should be caring about chain of command and military, you know, bullshit in this. Like, they're all, like, sort of wrong, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I see everything you're saying. It's just, ultimately, though, I do feel like the pranks they pull on the women and the way they treat them as just sexual objects is just misogyny for laughs.
It's always a difficult question, I guess. I think this is one of the... Yeah, this is kind of why... This is what I'm getting as why I sort of was dragging my feet with talking about this, because to me, this is one of the least simple cases of being able to say something like, oh, this is just about misogyny, or, oh, this is just getting off on misogyny, because I feel like it's very slippery to me anytime you start saying either of those things. Like, I feel very compelled to say, no, it's about misogyny if somebody's trying to say this movie's just blindly getting off on it. Like, I think it clearly knows what it's doing. Like, you can't tell me that it doesn't knows what it's doing.
I think part of the problem is that all of those jokes, all of those pranks are in the script. And I don't think it's very critical. Well, I don't know.
But the whole thing
in the book, it's not critical. The book, I didn't read the book, but apparently it's like a light read, and it's terrible and racist and just like a bad book.
Yeah.
The script, I think, adds a critical aspect to it. But then I think Robert Altman takes the entirely other step to add more criticism and satire to the material he's working with. But if the original material you're working with, that you're trying to put your own satire spin on it, was just showing those jokes because they thought they were funny rather than trying to criticize them, then the combination at the end does give you that slippery aspect where, like, no matter how much somebody is like putting their satire spin on it, the source material does straight up just think that these are funny. sequences to happen.
No, but it's a different movie, and like that's what I'm saying. Like it's a different movie. I didn't. Nobody reads the book. Like, you know, the movie's the movie, the TV show's the TV show, the book is whatever. Like, it's weird. I don't know. Like, I guess part of me wants to just defend Altman because like this was a guy who was like very conscious about like gender and race in his works and was very progressive and very political, and it enriches the movie how, like, that is, like, more like real life. Like, in real life, it's not just My Fair Lady and it's not just Porky's. Real life is probably more of a combination of both of them. Do you know what I mean? If that sentence didn't make any sense, I'm saying My Fair Lady, I would say, is an example of something that is about misogyny. And Porky's is a movie that reads pretty misogynistically to me. And I would say that MASH is a combination of both. And I think that's more like what real life is probably kind of reflective of, don't know?
Yeah, no, I agree with all that.
And so that's something where maybe it's trying to get away with something, but it is effectively getting away with it.
Yeah, I think it is trying to comment on it to some degree, but it is still just, if the source material is misogynistic, there's only so much you can do.
So you're saying it's just he's hamstrung by gotten this movie, he's gotten the opportunity to make this movie,
right?
You know,
that's what I kind of think. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. He was certainly looking for a success. I guess I'm more just trying to defend the fact that this movie is so complex, and like it really did get certainly better for me the second time. I was also thinking like, so the second time we watched it without subtitles.
Yeah, usually I have to watch everything with subtitles because I'm deaf as fuck. But because I had just watched it, I didn't need subtitles the second time, and I had just read the script. And watching it with subtitles does take away a lot of the Altman overlapping dialogue aspect because it's just telling you what to focus on based on what subtitles come up. So taking the subtitles away was the move for sure. If you can hear, you shouldn't watch it with subtitles, even if that's your habit, because you're not getting the full Altman effect.
Yeah, no, totally. And I was also thinking, like, I bet this movie would play even better on like a big screen.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sure
there's so much shit going on in the background.
That's probably true for any Altman thing.
And you kind of can't take it all in. His stuff forces you to lean in a way that, you know, if it's on a big screen, you probably wouldn't have to as much. I bet his stuff suffers a little bit from home video viewing.
I'm sure that's true.
But so, yeah, do you want to just spring... I mean, I guess we've talked enough for now about the confusingness of the philosophy and morality of MASH. Do you want to talk about, like, the getting to this place for Altman, or...
Yeah, give us a little bit of Altman history.
So Robert Altman, you know, he's born in 1925 or whatever. He's in World War II. He's born in Kansas City, Missouri, to a sort of a well-offish family. His father, like him later on, was an inveterate gambler. This sort of sense of risk and betting it all on things is a mark of the sort of the swings that Altman often will take in terms of what his movies are going to be about. He goes to war to avoid being drafted. He takes the Air Force test, and according to himself, he answers completely randomly on the test. They tell him you scored very well, and so they put him into the Air Force. And he ends up flying like bombing planes, like giant planes. And he flew like something like 40 bombing missions or something like that. Like, so, you know, he's in World War II. He gets back. He's married 2 times by now. He has kids. He ultimately gets married a 3rd time to sort of the love of his life, Catherine. And that's in like the 50s. He starts making industrial films. He starts working in television. He works with a lot of actors that are going to come on to define the 1970s early on, like Robert Duvall and James Caan and Tom Skerritt, who was in MASH. He makes some movies that are like, you know, low budget kind of things like The Delinquents and stuff. By the mid-1960s, he's alienated almost every boss he's ever had. He worked on Alfred Hitchcock Presents. How many new Hollywood directors had a falling out with Alfred Hitchcock? This guy is from a different era, right? And so then in his mid-40s, he hooks up with a business partner, George Leto. It's at this point that they make what becomes kind of a calling card movie for him, a calling card short for him in the early 40s, or in his early 40s, which is like, the movie is How to Roll a Joint.
Have you seen it?
No, have you?
No.
And it's like, so do you know about this? Like it's...
No.
It's like the bit is, what if a cooking show, but it was about rolling a joint? Heh heh heh.
That's hilarious.
And this movie, people are like, this is really cool and subversive and stuff. And George Leto shows it to Ingo Preminger, who's hooked up with Ring Lardner, and they're working on this script MASH. Do you want to jump in here? Do you know about some of this stuff now? Or
I know that 14 directors turned down MASH before they asked Altman.
Mm-hmm.
So he certainly wasn't their first choice.
No, the reason that they were turning it down was because there's no narrative thread to the movie, that it's an episodic thing, and nobody else could figure out how to string all the episodes together. And he didn't figure out how to string the episodes together until later in the making of the film.
Really?
Well, yeah. Johnny Mandel, the composer of the film and one of the co-writers of the famous theme song, said something about like, you've got all these shots of these loudspeakers. What if I put Japanese bands playing jazz music and stuff like that? And that gave him the idea to have the loudspeaker announcement things. And that's literally all the movie is. It's just a series of vignettes with moments where a person's talking on a loudspeaker. And that's what he thought of that those 14 other directors could never have figured out.
Oh, wow. I had some notes here about the loudspeakers, but I didn't realize that they were really serving to connect the different vignettes. I really like the loudspeaker announcements.
It's cool. I like I like how they talk about all the different war movies.
Yeah, it's a great way to remind your audience how different MASH is compared to other war movies.
Well, I also like, because then in the end, right, yeah, they say this movie, your feature tonight is MASH, and they explain MASH, and they do a sort of canned description of it. It's like, these surgeons, stitch together our boys and try to find love and stuff. And it makes you think of like how much of a euphemism every other thing that they've said about every war movie and every war is.
Right. It makes you wonder, like, are those other movies secretly amazing and complex?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Do you like that meta ending?
I do. Well, I mean, it's something that it's one of my favorite things about Nashville is the way that Nashville starts, where it's just like, and this is tonight's Nashville, starring these people, Robert Altman's Nashville. Like, we originally thought about having that as the opening of our show, some version of that. If you recall.
I forgot that we did.
This is Kael Your Idols with Elena and Sam. That's right. Kael Your Idols, right?
That would have been cute.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have done that.
No, I think so. Yeah, I guess this is really the first. I can't remember where the idea of. Do you remember the idea of the meta ending comes? Do you have anything on this?
No, I just like that it lists all of the minor characters as well, because it really highlights the ensemble cast. And I love that Altman wanted to highlight all of those minor characters as well. It's like a cool thing to do for them.
The opening credits is like Scarrett, Sutherland, Elliot Gould, and introducing 24 people.
Like, who are all great.
Right, exactly. It's all these people's first movie. He went to a San Francisco, like some conservatory theater thing. It was like a theater of the absurd troupe, and he just like picked out a bunch of actors and was getting obsessed with these actors who were essentially extras.
I know that Elliot Gould and Donald Sutherland tried to get him fired because he was spending, in their opinion, too much time with the extras and not enough time with them, and they thought that he was ruining the movie. Later, Elliot Gould apologized to Altman for this, and they worked together many more times, including The Long Goodbye. Donald Sutherland did not apologize and never worked with Altman again. And maybe he didn't apologize because apparently Donald Sutherland never actually watches in full all of the movies that he's in.
Oh.
He's never actually seen MASH. So maybe Sutherland just doesn't know how good the movie turned out.
Well, so he also died.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah, he just died. Robert Towne also just died. These guys are dropping like flies.
God.
We're going to have to be writing so many obituaries, and we're just going to be... This podcast is just going to be... I guess it's perfectly timed, like when it's coming out, because it's just going to be every... Are we going to have to start doing like an obituary opening sequence at the beginning of every episode?
Oh, like in the Oscars when they list everybody who died.
Memoriam, yeah. Right, but Sutherland is in this movie. This is our first Sutherland movie. It's not our first Elliot Gould movie.
No, not our first Elliot Gould movie. I mean, we've mentioned Sutherland maybe in
You said
Don't
you
Look
didn't
Now.
like Don't Look Now.
Yeah, but I didn't finish it, so...
I didn't hate that movie. I thought the movie was pretty good. I'm a Sutherland fan. I've been a Sutherland fan my whole life. I wrote about this in my obituary that I wrote. Sutherland was a guy for me.
I want to say, if you don't follow our social media accounts, like we post obituaries when these people die. And Sam puts a lot of effort into writing these. They're really beautiful. And we post a lot of other cool stuff. So check us out on social media.
Elena does a wonderful job. It's an extremely well curated little page. Future generations will look back and see your design skills at play in every post.
Thank you. Every time I learn something new about Adobe Illustrator. I'm not good at design, but I'm trying my best. Okay, Donald Sutherland. I thought he was great in this. I mean, I think everybody's great in this, but let's talk about Sutherland a little bit more. He's got the whistle tick thing.
He's got that whistle tick thing. He's wearing funny glasses and a funny hat.
In the script, Hawkeye has a thick country accent because he's kind of like a country bumpkin from Maine.
Yeah.
But him and Altman never even discussed his character's accent, so Sutherland just didn't bother with it.
Like, who are these characters? What is the essence of these characters that different? Why are there 3 guys? Like, it's
and they all, like, 2 of them know each other. So many of them know each other, but I guess that makes sense. I guess, like, upper echelon of surgeons in the U.S. would kind of know each other.
They're all playing on the same douchey football teams.
Yeah, why are they all
fucking
playing football?
Yeah, well, it's like they're the best and the brightest is the thing.
And the best and the brightest play college football.
I mean, they're at college. I don't know. Like it. So it's like, okay. So Trapper John is like, he's not as interested in sex as the other guys. He's mostly interested in like being. He's a little self-righteous. He's mostly interested in like, woe is me, but also like I'm a genius and everybody else is an asshole.
Yeah, is he the best surgeon of them? Because he gets named chief of surgeon.
Yeah, and they import him because they're like we need a chest cutter.
Right.
And the idea is
like,
that
different from what they do?
I think the idea is like that's kind of a waste of resources. Like if you're trying to get in and do heart surgery on one of these like battlefield injuries in 1950 or whatever, it's probably
too late for them.
I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to be the implication of what it is, but like, yeah, like he's this expert who gets brought in and then is kind of the best, and like he's kind of serious. Like he's not as much of a joker.
Yeah, I mean, he hides his identity in the beginning, seemingly probably as a joke.
I guess that's the thing.
I think he's got like a weird sense of humor.
He's got a weird sense of humor, but it's like he's a little bit more self-righteous. Like he's got but they all are, Hawkeye is too. Like, but Hawkeye is like, I want sex. I have an ideology.
But he's not as much of a sex hound as Duke. Sutherland doesn't need to chase as much. No. He seems more successful at getting.
Yeah, and Sutherland is also like, a satirical thinker. Like the one thing that I really love about Sutherland in the Duke Jeep scene, the introduction of Duke, is Sutherland is mistaken for a driver, and he immediately takes the opportunity to pretend to be a lower rank than he is.
Right.
Like Duke, like he wants somebody to think that he's like just some schmo.
My favorite part about that is then when Duke realizes that Hawkeye was pretending the whole time, he just doesn't react at all. He's like, oh, cool, okay. He's just like, well, we're friends, cool, great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and so Hawkeye, he concocts the whole painless suicide dumb show or whatever.
Yeah, he's kind of the one that has the most like social connections between all the other characters in the camp.
Yeah, but I mean, he's also like a bit of a philosophizer. Like Duke is not. Duke's
the kind of the stupid one. Like there's a scene where, and I can't tell if it's just because they got better actors to play these 2 characters, but I think it might be the scene when they're talking about getting the football team together.
Oh, right.
And it's just Trapper and Hawkeye talking to each other while Duke is sitting there kind of looking at both of them.
Yeah, because Duke's saying... You don't realize what Duke's saying?
Oh, yeah, he's being racist.
Yeah.
Duke is a Southerner.
Yes.
And is racist. And Altman initially asked Elliot Gould to play the role of Duke. But Gould said it would drive me crazy validating myself as a Southerner. So he asked to play Trapper instead.
Which it's like, right... I just Elliot's like, this guy Trapper John, I think I could do that. I'm like, who is Trapper John? Like, what? He wears a parka and has a mustache.
His mustache is amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean the Gould look is incredible. But yeah, so like Gould, I think it's certainly not like he's good in it. He's got a great look, but it's like it's certainly not like Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice level Gould for me.
No, or Long
Goodbye or any of the stuff.
It took me a while to realize it was Gould.
Yeah,
which is silly because his voice is so distinctive.
I think that he does have a little bit of a Gould is a Broadway baby, right? I mean, he's married to Barbara Streisand. You know what I'm saying? Like she's not getting married to Jack Nicholson. She's like hooking up with Elliot Gould or Ryan O'Neal. Like, you know, she I feel like if you're somebody who's dating Barbara Streisand, you're sometimes a little bit something of a hackier actor. Like, you're not like
you think he's hacky?
No, I don't think he's hacky. I don't think Gould's hacky, but I'm just saying, like, I think that he has almost a studied theatricality in this movie that is, I think, a little bit different than the other people. He sort of sounds like he's giving a speech in a way that I think sticks out a little bit compared to the other performances.
That's interesting. I didn't notice that. I thought he was
overthinking.
I thought he was good.
He's great.
He was just understated. So
yeah, I just feel like
I like that.
I hear his elocution, but maybe that's true of Sutherland.
That's just like a Gould thing, which I know is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, he always
like he's a Broadway tap dancer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I see it like a sort of like I see myself like myself a hacker.
I do
you know?
feel like the way he talks doesn't really fit the character of a trapper who wears a parka and that hat.
I don't know. Yeah, like he's like this guy Trapper John. I really got a handle on him, but it's like I don't get.
It just makes him a weird, odd. It makes him an oddball, which is cool.
Yeah.
Going back to Sutherland, I went down this rabbit hole about like how he feels about the way he looks, and it was really sad.
You didn't like the way he looks? He got big eyes.
Like, he's known for having a very unusual look, which it's something that, like, it's never registered for me. To me, he's never come off as unattractive in any of the things I've seen him in, and I think it's because he does stuff with such a swagger. He has a sex appeal to him. So reading about how in his first film audition, the writer, director, and film producer all called him in on the phone to explain why he wasn't going to get cast in the role. And they said, "We thought you were really wonderful, and we all wanted to call you together to explain to you why we weren't casting you. The reason we're not casting you is because we've always thought of this fellow as a kind of guy next door sort of guy. And to be absolutely truthful, we don't think you look like you have ever lived next door to anybody."
I mean, no, that's pretty good though. Like, I kind of get that. I don't even think if I read that as an insult or that but no, Donald Sutherland doesn't look like anybody else.
It's true.
His son is way more nondescript looking than he is.
Is his son an actor?
Yes. Kiefer Sutherland, he's from 24, Jack Bauer and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Donald Sutherland is the kind of person who plays characters like X in JFK, who is literally like, I am the one person who knows every single thing about the government conspiracy that is being covered up, and I will now tell you about this in the National Mall. Like, the kind of person that's like, yeah, I have not really been outside looking at other human beings very much recently. Like, he just looks, he looks weird in a great way. Like, nobody looks like him.
When he was 16, he asked his mother if he was good looking, and she said, "Your face has character, Donald." And he said later, at an old age, "It's not easy to know that you're an ugly man in the business like I'm in." And it's just so sad that he viewed himself as ugly.
He looked weirder and weirder as he got older.
I think he looks like a distinguished old dude in, what did I see him in last? Probably
Hunger Games?
Hunger Games, yeah. Like, he doesn't look weird.
He just looks specific. Like,
he looks specific,
he doesn't. Nobody looks like him. Like, and that's a good thing. But if you're playing these characters that are meant to be a little unsettling, maybe that contributes to not wanting to watch it. You know,
he never got an Oscar nomination. Isn't that crazy? He got a Lifetime Achievement Oscar in 2017, but never a nomination.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that would be there. I mean, like, the JFK thing to me is if he should have gotten a supporting actor nomination for that. I mean, what's he going to get an Oscar nomination for Alice in Wonderland?
But Don't Look Now? What about this?
No.
No? Why not?
He didn't really pop to me. But, like, I mean, compared to, like, obviously he's great. I as I said, I'm a Donald Sutherland fan. In this movie, he's covering up the peepers, which is a little bit weird. He's got sunglasses on the whole time.
It's a cool look.
No, but I'm saying you're missing out on the eyes. You're missing out on the Sutherland eyes. I think it's kind of mutes his presence a little bit in this movie, perhaps in an effective way. But no, so obviously his performance as Hawkeye is greatly overshadowed by Alan Alda's performance as Hawkeye in the TV show.
He just seems so treacly in the TV show.
Yeah, but I love Alan Alda. Man, that's an interesting question. Like, who's more of an icon, Alan Alda or Donald Sutherland?
I don't think people know of Alan Alda outside of MASH, do they? I don't even... Sure. I'd never heard of him before this.
I guess he's a little bit more niche at this point, whereas Sutherland had a more prolific later career. Again, as I wrote in my obituary, Sutherland When I was a kid, I made a list of like my favorite old actor guys. It was like Derek Jacobi, John Hurt. I was watching I, Claudius, I guess, a lot at that time here. And Donald Sutherland was the number one pick. He was my first. I was like, I like that old guy. Did you make a list like that when you were a kid?
No, I don't like old people that much, so I definitely did not make a list of my favorite old people. I feel like you were setting me up for that.
I was setting you up for it, and we've actually cut that out of several episodes because you didn't want to offend old people. So are we going to cut that out again?
We'll leave this one in for now.
Okay. So Sutherland, this is a movie that I look forward to us discussing more Sutherland soon, such as perhaps in a movie that I've recently mentioned a minute or two ago.
Are we going to tease another movie that we'll ultimately not do?
No, we have to do that.
Oh, right. Yes, we're definitely doing that one.
We're doing that one.
Okay. We'll remain mysterious for now.
Yeah. Sutherland, I love him. Rest in peace. MASH is an important movie that you did.
I don't have much to say about Tom Skerritt.
I love Tom Skerritt, but yeah, he's not.
What else
a weird
is he
third
in?
wheel in this. Well, you just saw him in Alien.
Did I?
Yeah, he's like the captain guy.
Oh.
He's got the beard. You don't remember? You just watched Alien. Like he's kind of good. He's kind of great in it. Remember, he's the guy. Like he goes into the vent and he gets killed by the alien.
I kind of forget, but we'll do an Alien episode soon.
We're going to do another Alien.
So we'll talk about him then.
Yeah. Right. So okay. So Sally Kellerman. This is probably the movie that she's best known for.
Yes.
I would say there's a couple of other things, but a couple more things that we should talk about with this movie is I'm going to get back to the nudity right now. Okay. So like, do you know that she had this whole thing where she was, really insecure about like doing the nudity. And so she went to her shrink and got naked and was like, there, see that? And he's like, okay. And she's like, I can do it now. And so that like gave her the courage. And then when she did the nude scene, the other actors were like getting naked and flashing their junk to her. And she said that it helped. And like, this is just kind of what I want to illustrate. It's like, this was an era where people were discovering potential freedoms. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe a different time, like, as I'm thinking about this, but it's just like, it's just so weird to think of like people being like, oh, it'll make her more comfortable if you like whip your dick out when she's doing her nude scene. And she's like, I attribute my Academy Award nomination to that, which is something that she's actually said. But it's like, I kind of also get that. Like, I feel like I glimpsed some period of time when this kind of like pranking and, this space within the arts, that was a place for being more free.
I'm sure that freedom is great for a lot of people involved. Obviously, the problem then is that for the people who are very uncomfortable about it, you kind of have to cater towards them, which is why you take away some of that freedom.
Yeah, if you want those people to be involved with that. It's like one person's got to go, kind of. It's Like, it's like, is this a safe space for that, or is it not a safe space for that?
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
That's what I'm saying. And again, like, I'm not trying to say... This is not me attempting to try and say what's right or wrong. It's just like, this movie was both, I think, in the moment pointing out misogyny and also trying to shake up norms about repression. Maybe it's using it in a blunt way, but like, there were taboos that this movie was breaking down. This is the first movie that said the word fuck in it.
It is weird, like there's some homophobia in this movie, but it's so odd about it.
Yeah, it's kind of like homophobia.
Because Paul wants to kill himself because he thinks that he suddenly gets scared that he's actually gay and didn't realize it because he can't get his dick up this one time he had sex. But it's like, it's not...
This is what
the
I'm
issue
saying.
isn't
right.
that he's gay. Yeah. The issue is that he is engaged to 3 women and he doesn't want to have to like disappoint all of them.
Well, no, it's also a thing where like he thinks that he's gay and because he couldn't get hard one time, and then he thinks that proves that he's gay and that means he wants to kill himself, and they're laughing at him being obviously wrong because they know that doesn't mean that he's gay.
Right.
So it's like they are being sensitive.
Yeah, I mean there is,
but like they're.
There is some like actual like homophobia undertones.
No,
like,
I know, but
laughing at him and stuff. But it is like
everything is like the whole Painless thing is a weird moral moment.
Yeah. Also because like earlier in the movie they show the guys lining up to spy on him through a peephole while he's showering because his dick is so big.
Right.
And one of the guys says to the other guy, oh man, I'd love to see that thing angry or something like that. And it's like,
I would too.
The guys are just like enjoying seeing a giant fucking dick. And that's just so funny to me.
Right.
No, movie where they're all obsessed with fucking women.
So I guess we should talk about Duvall.
I feel like he's miscast because
I kind of agree.
He's too cool. Frank Burns isn't supposed to be cool.
Yeah, the guy in the TV show is a little bit more of a nerd.
Yeah.
But I guess this is still when people are figuring out what Robert Duvall is, because this is like very early. I mean,
right.
This is kind of his breakout. It's not like he doesn't pop in this movie though.
I think he kind of doesn't pop, or he doesn't fit quite right.
Yeah, I mean, he's always got that weird like age where you can't tell how old he is. Like, he seems
baldness,
very old, but
throws you off.
It is the baldness. Yeah, Duvall. This is a guy. I guess this is our first. No. We did Apocalypse Now. This is not our first Duvall appearance, but yes, Duvall. Many people consider sort of one of the greatest supporting actors of all time. He goes on to have one of the most important careers of any actor in the 70s. Wins his Oscar in the early 80s for Tender Mercies, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I do want to talk about, I think I've developed a little addiction in the course of preparing for this episode, which is an addiction to saying Renee Auberjonois over and over again.
Are you saying it were you saying it out loud to yourself?
Oh,
nobody's around?
I would say it all that's, yes. This is one of those Travis Bickle moments where I'm just walking around saying Renee Auberjonois.
Now, okay, he plays Father Dago Red, which you kind of have to pay attention in the movie to figure out who this character even is. And he's a priest. His role is so much more clear in the script. There's a lot of clear character interactions in the script that happen involving him that just get blown right through in the movie or understated or cut out entirely.
I heard him talking about coming up with this moment, but there's a part where it's the very end of the movie where they're about to leave and they're getting on the Jeep and he's standing there and what he's saying is he's blessing the Jeep. Renee Auberjonois found a blessing for vehicles and it's like, says like, much like Saint Peter did in his chariot. And so he's just like, he came up with this thing of just like, we'll just have him like blessing the Jeep as they're about to leave and stuff. And it's like, you would never get that's what's like, you have to have explained to you what's happening, kind of. It's one of these just layers that you're not paying attention to.
Yeah, there's in one of the surgery scenes, they get him to help them with the surgery because they need an extra pair of hands. But I feel like at that point in the movie, they haven't clearly established enough that he's the priest because they introduce all these characters and you're not going to remember all like who's who in the beginning. So I feel like that part goes by a little like without remark.
He's got the big line. He's got the he was drafted line.
In the script, there's a scene where he is reading last rites to a patient who's not doing well on the operating table, and the patient suddenly makes a comeback. And then later on, they're drinking martinis with the priest, and Hawkeye says he's seen the last rites come through 4 times at reviving patients. And they like kind of take it seriously sometimes, like, hey, man, come on, do the last rites. You'll make them pull through. But then they like equate it to gambling and stuff. And so just the way that they treat him in the script, the way they treat him and religion, I think is actually pretty interesting.
It is interesting, yeah, how they don't remark how the scene with Frank Burns where he starts praying, it's shot as if he just started masturbating in front of them.
Right. They're like this is so weird.
They're like, I've never seen anybody do this in my entire life.
Yeah.
And yet Mulcahy is completely integrated into their worldview, I guess. But he's a priest and Burns is just a religious nut.
Yeah. You don't see him going around proselytizing to other people.
He's just quietly blessing the Jeep in the background. He's not right.
And trying to read the last rites to dying patients. And trying to get Painless Pull some help with this problem.
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, he's sort of faced with the moral question, which is a classic Catholic moral question, which is like, he can't condone suicide, but Hawkeye's like, but it's a fake suicide to prevent him from wanting to commit suicide. And technically Catholics are not allowed to do this thing where you're not allowed to do a bad thing to do a good thing.
But he gets convinced, which is one of the reasons why they think he's cooler than Fred Burns.
Yeah, no, Frank Burns. I think he just obviously is not an asshole. And Renee Auberjonois, I think, has this aura of not being an asshole. Like, that's kind of what he brings, even though he plays a lot of kind of shitty characters.
Yeah, is this his biggest role?
No, I think his biggest role is on Deep Space Nine.
He's the shapeshifter guy.
Oh.
You didn't recognize him?
No.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that character is a little hard-edged, but still seems sweet, you know?
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I love how much Star Trek comes up in this show.
Yeah.
Sally Kellerman.
I know. She was on the second pilot. The first one with Kirk, I think. But Rene Auberjonois, one last little thing, you know, he is a Washington, D.C. actor. Oh. And I performed with him and shared a dressing room in which I am 99% sure that this happened to me, but it might have been something that I just merely witnessed. But I think it happened to me where, like, I was being messy and he gave me, like, a good-hearted lecture in front of everybody about, like, what is this? Come on, you're just leaving this stuff strewn about here. You can't fold your clothes. Like, he gave me, like, this whole thing that was, like, a little, you know, care and professionalism, please. It is this so little to ask. It was really fun.
He is kind of an asshole, then?
Yeah, he was but it came off as very delightful and charming. Like, to me, it was very, yeah.
But it was in front of everybody. I'd be annoyed.
No, but it's like, I was pretty, like, you could say whatever you want to me. I also had an interaction in that same thing. This is a gala for the Shakespeare Theater. Bradley Whitford was there, and my only interaction with him was just like, I came around the corner and just like looked eyes, and I was like, had the look in my eye, I was like, oh, Bradley Whitford, and he just gave me a, yeah, look back, just like, I know, kind of thing.
I don't know who Bradley Whitford is.
You'd recognize him. He's in stuff. Or maybe you've seen Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
He's one of the guys. He's one of the goof off guys. You know, he's in the West Wing and shit.
Okay.
You would recognize him. Anyways, but Rene Auberjonois, I got a little Rene Auberjonois.
That's a great story.
He's pretty good. I was excited about that. I guess the one last thing we talked about is Gary Berghoff plays Radar.
Plays Radar. Who's this character who's like so weird. I don't know if y'all realized what his character thing is.
No, what?
Yeah, you try to tell me. Like, what's up with Radar? I know because I read the script, but what do you feel is Radar's thing?
I don't know. He's just like a quirky, like, busybody or something. Like he's what? What's his thing?
He's got superhuman hearing.
Oh.
So he always hears things first. He's like a literal radar.
Yeah.
And he's got superhuman hearing. That's why he can hear the helicopters coming first. He gets announcements first. He's there before people even ask for him because he can hear conversations from afar. He's able to like seemingly lip read that one conversation between Hawkeye and Frank Burns.
I never would have gotten
this is one of those things also that's like in the script but really downplayed in the movie.
That's why
still there, but like you don't really know what's going on.
No, he's just making weird faces and looking up. But it's like there's always so much action going on, and then he goes off and does a thing that now obviously has to do with sound every time. But yeah, no, he just looks like he's about to shit a lot of the time. But like
his eyes are really big.
He's listening to like he looks like he just smelled something funny or whatever. But I guess you're right, he's listening.
Yeah, the fact that he's the one who puts the microphone in the tent with Hot Lips and Frank Burns is very key to his character and very cool.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this guy belongs. Even though he's this dweeb.
Yeah, he seems like a nerd. You know this guy, he plays Radar on the show, too.
Yeah, he's the only one from the movie who's in the show, right?
Yeah, he played Charlie Brown in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, the original production.
Seems like a Charlie Brown type.
Very much so. And he was in this, and then he did the TV show. Like, imagine being like, I don't think I can really do much better than playing the 10th most important character in this ensemble thing for 10 years. He knew what he should do, I guess, right? Like,
yeah, but also if you're in a TV show that goes for that long and makes that much money, I feel like you don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know. Lots of people have ambitions, even if they're really rich. They want to keep making movies. I guess he just didn't.
And I guess he's a bigger character on the show.
Yeah.
There's more stuff that happens to him than in the movie.
Yeah. Altman hated the show.
Right.
But Gary Berghoff, the guy who plays Radar, thinks Altman was probably just like resentful.
Yeah, I mean, Altman says he was jealous.
Stole its thunder. Yeah.
But I mean, the thunder was already had. It won the Palme d'Or or whatever. It was called the Grand Palme at the time, or Grand Prix. It had a different name. They didn't call it the Palme d'Or at the time, but it's the Palme d'Or.
Yeah, it was just being selfish. But at the same time, like Altman had said that the TV show is just the complete opposite of what the movie is all about. And I see that too. Like, the TV show is maudlin.
Moralizing.
Yeah. and the movie is not.
One similar thing that the TV show and the movie share is the very memorable theme music.
Oh, God. When we watched it the second time around, having just watched it the week before, when that song played, I just wanted to kill myself, like, as the song prompts you to do.
Yeah.
Literally. But it's just so inane.
Yeah. But is it, though? Like...
It sounds beautiful. I will say that in the opening, the way it sounds is beautiful. But the lyrics are so stupid. I guess the messaging isn't stupid.
Right.
The lyrics themselves are stupid.
No, it's dumb but koan-like, in a way, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, it is impressive that it was written by his 14-year-old son.
Yeah. It was written by, co-written by Michael Altman. So, Altman is hanging out with Johnny Mandel, the composer, and they're talking about, he's like, oh, so this scene where Painless is going to commit suicide. Painless Pole, the dentist with the big dick who thinks he's gay and so he wants to kill himself. He's like, we need a song for this moment. It needs to be enlivened in some way. And so they're talking about it for a few minutes, and Altman says, in the scene, the character Painless is committing suicide. The name of the song should be Suicide is Painless, which is a nonsensical thing to say, and yet it makes complete sense. So then he's like, yeah, I've written songs. He was a songwriter when he was younger. He's like, I can go home and write this song.
Robert Altman.
He comes back the next day and he's like, no, I'm too smart. Like, I have too much. I'm too old. I have too many things in my brain. But luckily, I have a son who's a total fucking moron. So I will give this to him to write. And so I just listened to this audiobook that's on the life of Robert Altman. It's like an oral history, right? And so it's got a lot of the real people reading their interviews aloud. And it's got Michael Altman reading interviews. And it's like the guy is doing an impression of like Chris Klein in Election reading his speech. Like, he sounds like he's trying to act like adult. Like, I mean, he's just like, my dad gave me the assignment to write the song for Matt. Like, I'm just like, you said these words, man. You're like rereading these. But so, yeah, it's 1969. He's like, I am a hippie who has a guitar that I've painted a psychedelic color.
The 14-year-old son.
The 14-year-old son. So he wrote the lyrics to this song. He's claimed that he's always hated it, thought it was very dumb. And his dad was like, this is perfect.
I heard in a Dick Cavett show interview that when Robert Altman heard the song, he immediately called Johnny Mandel and said, you have to take this over because if it was up to me, I'm about to commit a serious act of nepotism. So I want you to be the one to make the call about whether or not it belongs in the movie. And Mandel said, yeah, put it in.
So it originally was just to be sung during Painless's suicide. Mm-hmm. And then they decided, okay, we're going to put this over the opening title. And Johnny Mandel's like, what? No, that's wrong. That doesn't fit there. And they're like, no, we're going to do it. And he's like, thank God they didn't fucking listen to me. Because, like, if it hadn't become the theme song and then the theme song of the television show, Johnny Mandel and Robert Altman's son became millionaires because of this song.
Yeah, they made, like, about $2 million in song royalties.
Each. Yeah.
Whereas Robert Altman was paid $75,000 to direct MASH.
Yes.
Just hilarious.
And he says, I don't hold a grudge about it because I got more out of it. Which makes me think, like, so if MASH, like, wasn't this critical in commercial success, you would be really pissed off that your son made this fucking stupid song that made all this money. But the saga of Michael Altman. So it's just, he writes this fucking song for this scene in this fucking movie. The movie wins the Palme d'Or. It becomes this television show. Okay? He gets a check after the show starts for like $60. He's like, okay. He gets another check that's like $125. He's like, oh, this is sick. The next check is for like $40,000. He's like, oh, fuck. And so what he does is he buys a converted milk truck and puts a ship's wheel in the front.
Oh my God.
And paints 2-man saws on each side of the car and just travels around the country living off of this money for the next 10 years. I would be very surprised if he didn't catch any Grateful Dead shows during this period of time, but there is no corroboration for that. And so he's just living off of this and never pays income tax on it and doesn't even realize that that's something he should be thinking about until 10 years later.
Oh no, I don't know this story at all.
Yeah, and so then, and he's like trying to buy a car and he's trying to pay cash and they're like, oh no, you can get it on credit if we just get an income tax return. And he's like, what? And so then he calls the IRS and they're like, oh yeah, so now you owe like serious penalty. You owe about like $250,000. He's like, okay, then I just disappeared for another 10 years. And then it turned into this whole thing. He had to declare bankruptcy.
Decided like, I'm not going to use credit ever because I don't want to pay this.
I'm just, and it just like ruined his life. I mean, like it's basically.
Oh no.
No, I mean, it's, and he's like, I hate this song. Like this fucking song is like, but I mean, I think he had a good time.
Look, I kind of blame Robert Altman for this.
Yeah.
In the Dick Cavett show interview, he said, and that this interview happened right after McCabe and Miss Miller came out.
Yeah.
What year was that?
73.
Okay.
72.
And
71 maybe?
Robert Altman said that at this point, his son had so much money. He's 16 years old now, and he's living with a 20-year-old girl in Venice with all of his extra money he made from the song. And I'm like, you're letting your 16-year-old son just live abroad? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like,
I think he means Venice Beach.
You think so?
Yeah, but maybe not.
Either way, yeah. I feel like Venice the son could have used some more oversight. And, maybe it's the father's job to make sure that your son knows what taxes are.
No, I mean, this was a regret that Altman expressed later on in his life. All of his kids eventually started working for him because they were completely neglected and developed no skills. And this was kind of they were just sort of dependent on their father for teaching them anything. And they wanted to be close to him, I'm sure was a part of it and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, he was famously a terrible father. He sat his kids down reportedly at one point and said, "You will never be as important to me as my work is." And they were just kind of like, we can see this. Like that is obviously demonstrably the case and stuff. And, people made their peace with it. I mean, it's weird. Again, he was already an adult. Like, he had so much life already gone at the point when he really got going.
Robert Altman.
He was not only a workaholic. This is a guy who's another key thing, I think, with the Altman aesthetic, as is true of his own life, is like partying. Like,
right. He was a raging alcoholic, right?
Raging alcoholic and party fan. I mean, like he and his wife are throwing parties every weekend. Like in the years coming up to when he becomes a hugely successful director. And then the party just continues, nonstop. I think there's a lot of partying in Altman movies. Like, you see, it's a lot of people, drinking and carousing and partying. I mean, MASH is kind of one big party.
Yeah. Especially the scene when Henry Blake leaves, the guy who's in charge.
Yeah.
And so then they're just like off on their own and they get like all really drunk together. Like, that does seem like maybe they're actually truly partying in that scene.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it's an aesthetic. Where do you want to go from here? Do you want to talk football sequences?
Football. I can't get over how long the football scene is.
It's the weakest part of the movie.
It is the weakest. It's 8% of the whole script. It's 13% of the whole movie. That's too long.
Yeah.
Way too long.
It's not a good ending.
No, yeah, that's the weird thing about it is it's the ending. Okay, this will kind of bring up the Ho-Jon thing, which we can talk about, who is the South Korean boy working in their camp. He plays a much bigger role in the script. Mm-hmm. The reason they are playing the football game in the first place, their motivation in the script, is they want to earn money to send Ho-Jon to medical school in the States. So that's why they're trying to earn the money, is because they have this like greater purpose. It's for Ho-Jon.
I like it better in the movie, actually.
And Ho-Jon, when, he got drafted into the army in the middle of the movie, he ends up getting injured and shows up on their table. So he is a patient of theirs. They go to the football game and try to raise money for him to send him to the medical school in the States. They succeed in that. They come back. He gets a blood clot and dies. And so that scene right after the football game when they're all playing poker while a body's being taken away in the background and they're kind of like ignoring it, that scene is supposed to be them playing poker to distract themselves from Ho-Jon's body being taken away. And then the script ends with the guys going home to their families. But in the movie, a lot of that Ho-Jon stuff is gone, and the ending is just they play football, there's a scene where they're playing poker, and then they go home. They get their orders.
Yeah, well, I just think the symbolism is so much that, like, this is another part that drives home the misogyny that the movie is about, which is this general has come because he's gotten a complaint from Hot Lips that's only just reached him. Like, he's, you know, the complaint that she and Frank Burns lodged earlier,
right,
is, you know, being investigated by this general who is presented as, like, being on Hot Lips' side.
Until he hears
that it's football.
Yeah.
And so he's like, fuck Hot Lips.
Yeah.
So, like, that's clearly, like, I think a much more thematically strong reason to go to the football sequence. Because the football sequence is this, like, carnival of masculinity in a way, you know?
Yeah. I think if they kept the Hojon stuff in, it would have been too sentimental. There's already plenty of sentimental stuff about them, like, saving the baby in Japan. There's also a scene they fly by it in the movie, but they make a bigger deal about it in the script where they insist on treating a patient who's a prisoner of war, treat him just the same as other patients. So they are, like, heroic in a bunch of ways.
I do think that the scene when Sutherland compliments Hot Lips is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But
I could see that maybe taking that Hojon stuff out keeps it from being overly sentimental. And so instead you have those montages of, like, these idiotic injuries that happen because of this football game. And so Altman manages to satirize not only war in this movie, but also the stupidness of playing football as well.
So can we just talk about, like, the weird form of racial humor that this movie has?
Yeah.
Like, again, this is something that it does feel like this doesn't age well to me, but it's a weird kind of not aging well, where it's like there's a kind of humor in the 60s movies for a white audience where they're like, we want to touch race, but race itself is the joke. Like just the joke is there is a black person on screen. Like the initial joke with Sutherland where there's, like, this black commanding officer who's, like, giving him shit. And then the guy leaves and Sutherland just goes, racist? Like, that's his initial joke.
Yeah,
and
like, as if it's, like, reverse racist.
Exactly, right. But I mean, like, I don't think he really thinks the guy was being racist. The joke is just, like, that guy was black. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's literally just, like, I am making a note of that. Like,
yeah. No, it was weird.
It's like when there's often, like, times when you see, like, an old movie and, like, if somebody's making a racial joke, the only joke is, like, who are you, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Because that is, like, the one black person that anybody has heard of. Like, they actually have no frame of reference other than to say, a black person, like, is such an unusual, it's such a non sequitur, you know?
Yeah. And it feels, in my opinion, like that aspect of the movie doesn't fit with the way Robert Altman directed it. And I feel like that is also one of those situations of, like, Altman just having to deal with the source material, because the book itself he describes as very racist. The script, way less so, but the movie does seem to be trying to comment on it a bit more. Like, I think they add that part in the football scene where one of the characters gets upset because they call him a racial slur. And so, you know, they get revenge by, I forget how they get revenge, like, he slept with his sister or something, something along those lines. No, the racial stuff doesn't age well at all, for sure.
I think it's almost a little uncomfortable about it.
Yeah,
like I could see what you're saying, that it does feel hamstrung to do a little bit of that.
Yeah,
because that's the tone of the
stuck
book.
with some weird source material.
I don't know.
Yeah, but also there was no wokeness back then, so.
No, but again, but the movie it's also trying to do a kind of rip from the headlines, like talk about all the issues that are going on in the world.
They have Hawkeye and Trapper basically indicate that Duke is being an asshole because he doesn't want Fred Williamson's character to share a bunk with him.
Right.
He's black. And they, like, push him over and they're like, oh, like, shut up, man.
Yeah, right.
But they do it in a way like, buddy, stop. Right. You know what I mean? They're not like, oh, dude, that's racist. They're just like, oh, come on.
It's just like, I can't believe he said that. You know, like, it's like very like, pfft, you know?
Yeah. I thought Fred Williamson was actually really great in it. I really liked that, like, he just comes across so competent.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, he's playing a football player.
Like he, like as soon as he comes on, it's like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, and
yeah, he is instantly part of the team. Like Hawkeye brings him into the scheme of like he's like, why don't we do this and run up the scheme? He's like, that's a great idea,
right?
Like, this is,
he just seems so smart, and he seems like one of them, and he's like a brain surgeon or something like that, right? He's a neurosurgeon.
They're all football playing brain surgeons.
It's. I thought his character.
No, you're right. He does have moments considering how little he's on screen.
Yeah. I mean, 13% of the movie is...
You're right.
That's kind of a lot. I still just can't... It's too long. Like, the football scene is way too long. The weird thing about reading the script is this: it goes into so much detail about the specifics of what's going on in the surgery. Like, every surgery scene reveals something in the script, reveals something new about the characters. And that's not really the case in the movie. Like, the surgery scenes, to me, seem kind of the same in the movie. But they're all slightly different in very technical ways in the script. And then the football scene is written out very, very technically. Ugh, and I'm like, what the fuck is with all this football shit? And then I learned that the book that it's all based off of, MASH, is written by Richard Hooker, which is a pen name of two different writers. One of the writers is Dr. H. Richard Hornberger, who was a surgeon who served in MASH during the Korean War. And the other author was a sports writer. So it's literally written by a surgeon and a sports writer. And I think that's why there's like so much like weird technical stuff with both football and surgery. And it's a weird combination.
But it is a movie about process. You want to get to know the ecosystem that everybody's working within kind of well, right?
So you're saying it makes sense that you would merge football and surgery together if you want to talk about processes?
I mean, I see the connection. Like I feel like, I guess the key trait that we have to say is, alongside all of these doctors, dickishness, they're shown to be like extremely competent. It's not like they drop into a new facade, but like they never bat enough. Like when they're on vacation, when they're in their Japanese vacation,
which, by the way, they made zero effort to make it seem like they were actually in Japan. That was like the one part of the movie that I'm like, this is kind of lazy with their set design.
I mean, Altman wanted to go to Japan. They wouldn't let him.
So he was like, fuck it, I won't even try to make it seem like Japan.
I mean, I think that the argument was just like, who cares? Like, no, no. But in that thing, the scene there, all they want to do, they want a trip to Japan to do some golfing, right? There's a stupid rich kid who they got to take a look at, but they're going to go to visit the brothels. They're going to have fun. They're going to have a nice time in Japan.
Yeah.
They get interrupted in the middle of their cavorting with the prostitutes. The person's like, I hate to do this to you, but can you come look at this kid? And they're like, yeah, of course. Like, they don't even think about it.
Right.
Like, there's no like, oh man, we're in the middle of our vacation. It's like, of course we will look at a kid and save this kid's life.
Right.
That's, I guess, what makes them heroic in a way that is confusing as far as thinking whether you're supposed to root for them.
I mean, it's a total save the cat moment.
Yeah.
Or so, because it saved the baby.
But it's also just like, it's not even a moral decision for them.
Because they're so morally good when it comes to saving lives. They're so dedicated to that they don't even have to think about it. That's just like ingrained in them.
Yeah. I mean, aren't you? Like, don't you?
Yes. No.
I think we all agree with that. Like,
it's
not even them. It's just reality. Like, the movie would be very boring to me if it was just about like one or the other. I think the movie only has spice.
Yes, they're complex characters. I think they're complex characters because they're misogynistic, but they're also heroes for saving lives and stuff. And that's what the complexity is that both are true.
But they're not even seeking out heroes. They're forced into this. They're forced into everything that they do in the movie, even though they accept it,
Right.
I don't know. Football scene's kind of boring.
Okay, one last thing I want to say about the football stuff is Hot Lips cheerleading in the game is not part of the script, but it being part of the movie is a major development in her character. So they brought in a guy named Andy Sedaris to choreograph the football scenes, and he directed college football games on ABC and pioneered what became known as the honey shot, which is when you do close-ups of cheerleaders and attractive female fans in the stands at sporting events in the middle of the actual games. And I was wondering if he was the reason they decided to cut to Hot Lips cheerleading, and if maybe his honey shot of showing the sexy chicks during football games is what we can thank for the Hot Lips development in the movie. I have no idea whether or not that played a role at all, but I just thought that was a fun connection.
There is this weird vortex that you're observing in the end of this movie. Like, all of everything just gets as absurd as possible. Like, Hot Lips suddenly, the thing is that, like, it's not like when you watch the movie, you are feeling the sense of, like, oh, that moment where Hot Lips got exposed in the shower, I can see that exposed her vulnerability, and that's what brought her close. Like, you don't see that happen. She's just upset about it. And then later on, like, they go to Japan, and when they come back, she's fucking Duke, and now she's kind of part of the group.
Oh, right. That's the thing that makes her change. She sleeps with Duke.
She sleeps with Duke, right? Yeah. Right. And it's like, and that was Sally Kellerman's thing. She's like, I loved what happened to Hot Lips. That was good for her. She was like, she got to be a cheerleader. She got to sleep with cute guys. And it's like,
it is really
that's fun. Like, she views it as like, this was a positive thing for this character. And it's like, what do you want to have happen? Like, do you want her to, like, reprimand the guys? And they, you know, like, what's supposed to happen in this?
I don't dislike her character arc. I mean, I guess it's kind of lame that she's just like, you know what? These guys are all right. But it is also weird that when they show her being part of the guys, there's also just like a sudden drop in her competency because she's like so idiotic during
the
football.
She seems like a bimbo or something.
They call her a blithering idiot. Because she's
calling her that the whole time.
A free kick! Oh my gosh! Yay! Free kicks! Like saying the most stupid things.
Yeah.
So it is interesting the combination of like the sudden drop in her competency along with the change in her relationship with the men.
Yeah, the bimbofication of it. I mean, it's a little bit like Grease, the ending of Grease.
Yeah, it is.
Like, yeah, it would be nice if there was something where she retained something of the old prissiness or something, I guess. But like, I don't know. I'm not trying to like be an apologist for this movie because again, and we're getting to the cold stone of it all. It's like I'm not obsessed with this movie. Like I don't think it's a perfect movie. I think it's a little sloppy. But can I read you what my notes were? These are all of the notes I took the first time we watched the movie. How many war movies actually deal with wax?
Which again are female army members or military members?
Women Army Corps. So, how many war movies actually deal with wax? Why was this movie such a big hit? Comedy? Hard-edged? This is the story of men harassing a woman. This is the beginning of locker room talk in movies. Are they dubbed over in that moment in the Jeep in Japan? I guess this is an interesting movie. There's ideas in it, I guess, but it bores me. I do love the brown and dinginess. Who is Hot Lips? They changed the character. These are all of the notes that I took over the entire runtime the first time that we watched MASH.
Wait, sorry. So you do like the cinematography?
Yeah, it's been growing on me too more thinking about other Altman things. He's actually subtly really good at color schemes in movies. Like MASH has like a very strict color scheme of like everything is this like grayish brown green thing.
Yeah.
But then there's flashes of white and red, and these are all just, you know, extremely perfectly, like, it's just the little white things to represent the medical, you know, stuff for the doctors, and then like the red to represent blood. There's a little bit red in the Bible, and then Painless's scene where he's gonna fuck the nurse is all in red. Like, it's a very very regimented color scheme.
Pauline Kael calls the cinematography very fine, full of dust and muddy olive green tones. It didn't do much for me.
I like
Carver, Harold E. Stein. I haven't heard of any of the other movies he did except for like Poseidon Adventure, which got him an Oscar nomination. But yeah, it didn't blow me away.
Well, I mean, there's all this stuff where it's like, this movie, again, it's the first movie that says fuck in it, but it just flies past you. I mean, it's literally just like a moment in a montage where a guy goes, I'm gonna take your fucking head off, and like, you could totally miss it.
I know, I read that it was the first movie not the first movie, but the first like mainstream Hollywood
R-rated
movie to say fuck in it, and I'm like, when did it say that?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. But
if it was the first time that you had seen that, you would have noticed it.
That's true. If I was a modern audience watching it when it first came out, I'm sure.
Yeah, like imagine this movie starting. It's a shot of a dead body hanging off or a bloody body hanging off a helicopter, and then you hear this folky song come in, and it says, "Suicide is painless." This would seem so trippy. Do you know what I mean? Like you've never seen anything like this shit.
Yeah,
and yet it seems so flat in a way now.
Pauline Kael said, I am happy to say that MASH, taking full advantage of the new permissive rating system, is blessedly profane. I've rarely heard four-letter words used so exquisitely well in a movie, used with such efficacy and glee. I salute MASH for its contribution to the art of talking dirty. So clearly it did make an impact on the audience at the time. It was shocking and new and exciting.
This movie was blasphemous. The whole Last Supper scene? again,
yeah, I mean,
this shit seems so hacky, but he was I think the second person to do that in a movie. I think Buñuel did it.
It was in the script, so gotta say that wasn't an Altman thing.
Really? Are you sure that you read the original script?
Yes!
You didn't read like a version of the script
all of the sequences are not only from the script, but all of the sequences are also in the book. I have not confirmed that the Last Supper scene is in the book, but I'm pretty sure it is because, like...
I just don't really understand how you could have the Last Supper...
He described in the script...
Oh, in the script, yeah.
It's described as, like, they are setting the scene like the Last Supper.
Okay, well, anyways... Yeah, that's not that. This is like the second time that was seen in a movie. How the fuck many times have you seen that casually thrown into a movie?
Yeah, the New York Times said it was the first movie to openly ridicule belief in God.
Yeah.
Like, the way it deals with religion is totally new. The fact that, like, yeah, in that Last Supper scene, painless pole basically equals Jesus, who's getting resurrected after sex. Like, that's so blasphemous.
Are there broader things you want to talk about? Any other?
I guess sequences? I just want to a couple extra things. Like, I just want to say the surgery scenes are so graphic. They really make the movie. A lot of critics have said, without the surgery scenes, this movie is nothing. But the surgery scenes are the things that make everything profound and make everything okay and make you deal with all of the crassness, and they're so crucial to it, and they're done really well in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's the point is it doesn't ever seem to fully get made, which is like, this is actually the most obscene thing. This fucking war and this whole situation, the fact that we're forced to be here, like, that is actually worse than anything we're doing, like.
Very briefly, just to summarize some of the new Hollywood aspects, you mentioned a lot of them in your intro, and we've already talked about some of these, but I just want to remind y'all, this is definitely a new Hollywood film. There's improvisation to varying degrees, as we discussed earlier, like the degree to which there's improvisation.
You're here to poke holes in all this.
Yeah, I mean, clearly there is stuff that is improvised. So there is improvisation. I don't think it's 80 to 90% of the dialogue, like Tom Skerritt says, but there is improvisation. There's unusual narrative structure, the experimental overlapping dialogue, there's a general artsiness. It's criticizing the Vietnam War, even though Fox insisted on the caption in the beginning to indicate that it's about the Korean War, but it's clearly about the Vietnam War.
Right. It's got all these new Hollywood actors. Again, everybody's being introduced. It's like their first movie.
Right.
So this is setting the scene.
Bunch of new Hollywood people. A lot of profanity.
Yeah, and again, this movie's just pretty important in the storyline of New Hollywood. Altman is a major figure, and I think this movie opening up the international market to view these new Hollywood movies as like, no, these aren't just like better than the old new Hollywood movies. These are the good movies right now.
Right. Yeah, the reception of it is really important. It was a hit. It was the third highest grossing film of 1970. Do you know the other two?
Love Story and Airport?
Yes, that's right. And Sally Kellerman said, when you're second to Airport, makes you wonder how good your own picture is, Because I guess she didn't like it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, Airport sucks. As does Love Story.
But it made $81.6 million. The budget was only $3 million. This is something that Altman is known for, is that he makes movies cheaply.
Yeah.
Which is why he got away with making so much artsy stuff, is because the studio was like, yeah, go ahead. You make them for so cheap. Like, do whatever you want.
And his whole style is creating a complete sense of anarchy on the set and letting things run wild, that you would think he would be one of these directors that's like constantly going over budget and letting sets get out of control. But no, just the opposite. He's got 20 years of experience in television, things where he's got real limits, and like he can control the chaos in such a way that he's coming in under budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in addition to it doing financially well, as you mentioned, it was also a critical success. It got nominated for Best Picture, along with Best Director, Best Editing, it won for Best Adapted Screenplay, and Sally Kellerman got a nomination for Best Supporting Actress. And Pauline Kael gives it a glowing review. At one point she says in her review, all this may sound more like a testimonial than a review, but I don't know when I've had such a good time at a movie. And, Pauline Kael famously ended up being a huge Altman fan. So it did financially well, critically well, and it was just so novel, so irreverent, that it just really set the tone for the rest of the decade.
Became the tone-setting sitcom.
Yeah, it was very enduring.
All right. Is that the end of the main discussion?
Yeah, that's what I got. I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's, pretty much all I've got. I do wish that I wish that I could elevate this discussion beyond just a thing of saying, like, yes, it's misogynistic, or no, it's not misogynistic, because it's just like, I really do think this movie is playing a different game. It's just so hard to pin down.
To me, that is not the main point of the discussion. I know we spent a long time discussing it because I think it's the main thing. You were concerned about like how we came down on that issue, but in my opinion, like, there are misogynistic aspects about the movie, but there's so much else going on in the movie that's just one piece of it, and it is just a very complex film.
Yeah, but it's the thing that, as I say, like, in my first watch note, it was all I was thinking about. Like, and I was like, this is the story of men harassing a woman. Like, that is the story that you're watching, is the story of Hot Lips. Like, that is the narrative thread.
It is so striking now that you do have to,
again,
really deal
not
with
just
it.
Now. Like, this was true at the time. Critics would say this, and Altman and Sally Kellerman had to field questions about this stuff in the initial thing. Altman said in a Cannes press conference, somebody said, "Why do you treat women like this?" And he says, "I don't treat women like this. I'm making a movie about people in the fucking army I'm making a movie about people being assholes. Why would you assume that this has anything to do with my perspective?" I think that it is something that was striking to people. It overwhelms the movie to me. And I can't help but think that it's trying to say something.
In my opinion, if he wanted it to be clearer that, like, it does kind of make it seem like the guys are charming despite their misogyny. So
they were right to do that fucked up thing to Hot Lips.
No, they weren't.
In the movie, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying the movie
actually they were right.
Yes, that shows that they were right to do this.
Right. So I do
but
feel
at the same time, it's showing that it's fucked up. It's not a pleasant moment. You know what I mean? Like,
but it doesn't do that much. I don't know.
I think it does. I don't know.
I feel like we've litigated this a lot.
We have. Okay, there's a restaurant called Cold Stone Creamery that serves ice cream. I worked there before later working at Baskin Robbins, but my first job was Cold Stone Creamery. At this place, if you're trying to decide between a small, medium, or large sized confection, you can't say that to them. They won't know what you're talking about. You need to say you want a like it, love it, or gotta have it sized ice cream. We have reappropriated this scale for discussions about movies that we at least like. If we like the movie, we rate it through using the Cold Stone scale. And if we don't even like the movie, we say it doesn't make the scale, or we make up some cutesy little thing about how it's not ice cream. Okay? What do you think about MASH, the movie?
To me, it was very obvious what my answer was. It's a like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very good movie. I recommend it to people. There's a lot that's very admirable about it, but it didn't connect with me in any deep way. So it's just a like it.
Yeah.
But it's a definite like it. There's no question that it's on the scale for me.
I kind of couldn't have said it better. It's a like it for me. It's certainly improved quite a bit on the rewatch for me. I thought it was a much richer experience. I think turning off the subtitles really did let you just let the movie happen in a way that I think is more like the artsy-fartsy experience people were having when they watched it.
Yeah.
Where, like, you just hear this weird sound of three people talking at once, and you didn't get what it was, but you felt it.
Yes.
And I got more of that the second time, but it didn't really move it beyond a like it for me. I also don't really connect to this movie in a way. I'm only defending it on the grounds of, I think that the movie is charmingly complex in almost everything that it's ever showing. But at the same time, the overall experience for me, and I think most people, is kind of like, this movie is not really pleasant. I don't know. I don't really like these characters at all. And like, they're not that interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't love a cut up. I don't know.
I don't like seeing the blood on the screen. I don't like seeing the graphicness. I do like that shit. Okay, well.
I kind of like it, yeah.
I was like looking away, and then I was like, I guess I should be looking at it.
Yeah, man.
Otherwise, how can I talk about the movie on the podcast? So I looked at that nasty shit for you guys.
A lot of people want to look away from Vietnam too, man.
That concludes another exciting new Hollywood adventure. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Kael Your Idols on the podcatcher of your choice. We really appreciate ratings and reviews. They are instrumental to the growth of small podcasts like ours, and we would love to hear from you. So please get in touch with us on Instagram, X, or you can send an email to kaelyouриdols@gmail.com. I run the social media accounts, so if you get into an argument with us on there, you will be arguing with me. I'm kind of really proud of the Instagram content I post, so check it out. We want to say thank you to the Illuminator for our logo, and thank you to ourselves for everything else. Please join us next episode where we will be discussing Cool Hand Luke, and we will be joined by special guests Ryan and Katie from a movie podcast called The List. Sam and I both really enjoy listening to The List, in which Ryan and Katie work their way through the IMDb Top 100 films, so it was an absolute pleasure having them on as guests to discuss Cool Hand Luke. Definitely check out that next episode and check out their excellent podcast as well. Again, it's called The List with Ryan and Katie.
Okay, Peter Fonda, how did we do?
We blew it.